All right, Nick, let's talk about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Irish have been doing a lot of great stuff this offseason. 2025 class looking good. But when we start to look at the future, Notre Dame has been getting involved. They've been getting a lot of great commits. They're doing a good job. But this latest commit, I think, is something special. And who they're able to beat out to get him, I think, is even more special. I think the Irish fans are going to love this one. We'll get into that in just a second. But first, I'm Andrew. That's Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, Notre Dame got a big win here for the 2026 class. Let's jump on into the post or tweet on X, however you want to call it, and we'll talk about it more on the other side. Again, this, I said, is from @HayesFawcett on Twitter, one of the better Twitter follows in all of the country when you're looking for your recruiting transfer portal news. So go check him out. But it says, breaking, 4-star running back Kavon Osborne has committed to Notre Dame, he tells me, for @On3Recruits. The 5'9", 195-pound running back from Forney, Texas, chose the Fighting Irish over Michigan. Interesting. He says, choose hard, live easy. I will give my all for Notre Dame today. Love that. But Osborne here, I think this is a big get. To be able to steal a commit away from Michigan, a Big Ten, Titan, I'd say, able to get this guy come over here, someone that's been doing really great, someone who's been doing great in the running back development game as well, and have him come to the Irish. I think that's a fantastic move for them going forward. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick, but before we get to you, Irish fans, in the comment section below, let us know, what are you thinking about this 2026 class? Can they continue the momentum? They're in the midst of it. They're battling Southern Cal. They're number 2 in the country for this 2026 recruiting class so far. Do you think they keep it up? And who do you think is the next guy that they target? What do you think as far as what's the next thing they need to get in this 2026 class? Is there anybody that you're eyeing? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest get for the Irish?
I think it's absolutely huge. And of course, you talk about the people they're beating out. You look at Michigan, Alabama's involved, Miami's involved, and you look at Osborne here. He's taken official visits to Georgia, the University of Georgia, unofficial visits to the University of Texas, right? Obviously, you're looking at Osborne here. He's a Texas kid. So you look at all of this attention. He's a 4-star recruit. He's a big-name running back. He's gone to see all these schools, in some cases in an official visit. And despite that, he has chosen Notre Dame as his hard commit. Now, look, at this point, it's kind of interesting because he's still slated to visit Miami. He's still slated to take his official visit to Notre Dame. And he's still slated to take his official visit to Michigan. Now, it's an important thing to understand here is that a lot of these kids, and look, I was when I played college football and I was a recruit, much smaller than this, tiny little recruit. Like I was like a 0.1 star at best, right? But even so, I had programs that I really wanted to go to, and there was a few that I had offers to go to official visits to, and I took the official visits because, like, why not, right? This is the only time I'm ever going to get a chance to do this. Let me see what it's all about, right? So I wouldn't be too worried about him going to see other schools on official visits. I think a lot of these kids are just like I was. I was like, yeah, why not? I'll go up and see this school, right? I think that's his approach here, so I wouldn't be too worried about that if you're a Notre Dame fan. Now, if you look at him as a prospect, again, elite 4-star running back, he's expected to come in and contribute at a high level. Obviously, this is a Notre Dame offense that has some question marks with the quarterback position, long-term and short-term as well. But we know overall with Notre Dame, with Coach Freeman, his staff, the front office there with the Fighting Irish, they do a great job building a deep and talented roster across the board, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, defensive backfield, running back, receiver position. Everywhere you look, special teams, this is a deep, talented Notre Dame roster, and they are one of the few programs that year in and year out continue to do this at such a high level. Now, it's important to understand they don't always get a top 2 recruiting class like they're training right now for 2026. They're usually very good, but they don't always get this high a ranking. I think what Coach Freeman is doing here, and I think the Osborne commit here is a great sign of this, is that he's leveraging the great postseason run that Notre Dame had. Again, they were the runner-up in the entire college football world. Somehow people keep forgetting that. I don't understand. We talk about all these other programs. Notre Dame, with the million injuries they had, was the second best team when it's all said and done in college football last year. And people are just kind of like, well, that's it. They're not going to do anything else. I think it's absolutely bonkers. I think going forward, this is going to be a really, really good football team for a long time, and it's because of moves just like this. It's getting quality players, beating out top competition. Michigan's a running back heavy school. You look at Miami, they're a big name program. It's obviously Georgia. He's a Texas kid. The Texas Longhorns were a playoff team. Despite all of those concerns and competition, Notre Dame goes out and gets the commitment done. This was a phenomenal job by the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, Nick, I like this get for Notre Dame a lot, and I think it does a lot of really important stuff. Two things in particular that we hit on here. I think, this is something that's going to be really great for Notre Dame in the long run. This is a team that's got the number 2 overall recruiting class, and I think it's going to be something that keeps them in contention, keeps them going forward. Two things we hit on. One thing I hit on kind of early in the beginning is right here with what he talks about in his conversation with Marcus Freeman early on and when he was recruited. Osborne came out and said, when I was talking to Coach Freeman early on, he talked to me and said, we need you to help us keep this recruiting class on track. And he was very excited for him to come to Notre Dame. But that first part to me, I think, is very, very important. It shows Coach Freeman, he's doing a great job recruiting. He's getting a lot of these guys in here. He's, doing a lot of really important stuff. But second, he's in an arms race. He's wanting to come out and compete with these other teams, the top teams in the country, and be the best recruiting class possible. And this latest get in a player like Osborne just shows he wants people to come in and help them keep the recruiting class up. He's getting guys to come in and help recruit for Notre Dame, saying, hey, we're one of the best recruiting classes in the country. Let's keep the momentum coming. All the players all your friends, let's get them to come to Notre Dame. We want to have the best recruiting class in all of college football. So I think that's a really important factor here. I think it's going to be big for Notre Dame going forward. Also, he talks about when he spoke to Coach Freeman, told him that they're going to win a national championship. That's what you hit on, Nick, and that's what they're doing, is they're leveraging their postseason success. This is a team that made it to the big dance. They couldn't quite finish, but Coach Freeman is using that in his recruiting pitch, saying, hey, come here. We're all going to come together. We're going to use your talent, and we're going to get the job done this time. We're going to go win the whole dang thing. So I think that's a really great approach by Coach Freeman so far. And I think that just all in all, his recruiting strategy is good. He's being aggressive. He wants to win the recruiting battle. He doesn't want to win. He wants to dominate. He wants to be the best team in the country when it comes to recruiting. But also, it talks about him leveraging their postseason success to continue the train, to keep this recruiting class going. I love that. But the second thing I like the most about this in his comments when talking about getting recruited by Notre Dame is he said, when I started getting offers, I asked my head coach if he could get me in touch with Notre Dame. I always loved Notre Dame, said Osborne. He also called the Coach Lufkin at Notre Dame to get in connection with other Notre Dame coaches. I think this is a key here, and I think it goes back to what you're talking about. When you're a young kid in high school, when you're a recruit, in this new NIL era, all the glitz, all the glam, everyone wants to wine and dine you, take you out, show you the finer things in life. Everyone's seen the videos of Texas when they bring their recruits in. They have like Lamborghinis sitting out front that you can go rev up and take pictures and stuff like that. Everybody wants to do that. So the fact this guy still has visits going on to some of the top places around the country, I think that's just a kid saying, hey, if I got the opportunity to go do some cool stuff, get some, good things out of this for me, why not? It's like you said, when you're recruiting, you may already know where you want to go, but you're just going to go around and see, have someone to wine and dine you. It's always nice to be wanted sometimes. This is definitely a guy worthy of being wanted, and I think that just shows. But when you listen to his comments, this is a kid in the recruiting cycle. He was getting recruited by different teams. He said, please get me in touch with Notre Dame. That is where I want to go. I've always loved the Fighting Irish. I always loved Notre Dame. So I have no question in my mind, this is a guy who's going to be at Notre Dame. When you ask, hey, get me in touch with this program, that's where I want to go, then you commit to him. That's a really big sign to me that this kid, he loves the Fighting Irish. He loves what they bring to the table. He loves what's going on with Coach Marcus Freeman's program, and this is where he wants to go. I don't care where other schools he, visits down the line. If he asks to come here and then he commits afterwards, that's a big sign to me that they won this recruit, and he's going to help them continue winning the recruiting battle.
And just one final point to end on. You talk about capitalizing on postseason success, right? That's exactly what Notre Dame has been trying to do, and they've been executing at a high level. You mentioned that they're the number 2 overall class right now, according to 24/7 Sports, for the 2026 class. What's interesting, if you go back and look at their last three classes, 2023, 2024, and 2025, they finished 12th, 10th, and 12th respectively, which is very, very good, obviously, and that's very consistent. That's important. But because of their newfound postseason success, again, national runner-up, right, the number 2 team in the country, now's an opportunity for them to capitalize off that and leapfrog from being a top 10, top 12 recruiting class into a top 2, top 3 recruiting class. We know Coach Freeman and his staff does a great job consistently finding great recruits. If they can now have that step function up to the point of, instead of having, consistently 10 or 12 rank, 2, 3, 4, 1 rank, then this program will go from being what they are, which is one of the best programs in college football, to the best program in college football. And I give Coach Freeman a lot of credit for really trying to capitalize on this opportunity. A lot of coaches, they kind of missed the boat here. You look at, of course, what happened with TCU. They had a magical run to be a semifinalist a number of years ago. They've fallen off the map, right? We see programs all the time that have a couple really good seasons. They seem to be trending in the right direction, and then things just drop off because they don't capitalize on that momentum. You look at a program that slowly did do that. Of course, Michigan did that and ended up with a national title for them before Harbaugh went into the National Football League. I think Notre Dame has a chance to set up even more sustained success. I think Freeman is here for a much longer term than Harbaugh at Michigan, and if they can capitalize on this momentum, which it seems they are, there's no reason to think they won't continue to do that, then I think what we saw last season, Notre Dame making it to the national championship game, that won't be a magical run. That will be a baseline for this Fighting Irish program.